of you work in a clinic? Do any of you have this machine at work?
That
No?
one's in one of the clinics.
One of the clinics. I love this machine. This machine is awesome. So the on-off switch is underneath the little handle back here. Okay, it's right up here on top. And again, you wait until the screen, menu screen comes up. Okay? So, Shauna,
Sorry.
if we want to do Russian, what do you think we need to select based on what you see there?
Electrotherapy.
All right, so select it.
Touchscreen, is it?
Nope, it's right to the side. Yep. Okay. Now we come up with all of the possible electrical therapy choices that this machine does. I mean, look at all that it does. Asymmetrical biphasic, high volts, direct current, symmetrical biphasic, Russian, microcurrent, which is like that low intensity direct current, okay? Premodulated current, interferential current. I mean, it does a whole bunch of stuff. So, if you wanted to do NMES to a large muscle group, what are your choices?
Symmetrical or asymmetrical?
To a large muscle
large.
group.
Symmetrical.
Symmetrical biphasic or
Russian.
Russian. I have never in my life ever seen another unit that gives you this many options, which is why this machine is so awesome, okay? Because if a patient can't tolerate the force behind Russian, then even though this is plugged into the wall, there's these huge modulations that occur in the machine that lower the voltage, and you select symmetrical biphasic, and the patient is able to tolerate the current a little better. All right, so that's what's really cool about a machine like this. All right, so if I wanted to do Russian, just as Shauna did, you're going to hit the button that corresponds to the spot on the screen. All right, so if I hit Russian, all right, and then you can see that it defaults to all of these settings here. So a single channel, cycle time of 10 seconds on, 50 seconds off, burst frequency of 50 bursts per second. Now, that's the Russian protocol, right? Russian stim in and of itself is 50 bursts per second. That just is what Russian is. You can still edit the frequency, though, of 35 to 50 pulses per second. Can't change the burst per second, okay? The duty cycle, again, we're going to leave it at 50. Ramp, and then there's this thing called anti-fatigue, and everyone has asked me, what is that? And I have yet to pull the manual out and be able to tell you exactly what it is. So I don't know, but I will let you know when I pull out the manual and look at it. Okay? So if you don't like those parameters, and say your patient is, you know, a 75-year-old frail elderly woman who you want to stimulate a muscle, and you don't want 50 pulses per second, then you change. And how do you do that?
Edit.
Edit. You guys are so smart. All right, and then again, you're going to come up with this menu. All right, and depending upon what you want, you can change it. Now, this machine does call frequency burst frequency, so don't get confused. It's always in the machine going to be 50 bursts per second because that's what Russian is, but you can change it to higher or lower based on what you want. Okay, in order to get, because remember we want the least amount that we can use to get the stimulus or the outcome that we're looking for. Okay, and when you have what you want, this little arrow is kind of like the computer screen enter button, so that would be your enter. Okay, here's your current knob. Okay, so same thing with any other machine. Turn the current up pretty steadily till you see the outcome, and then you're going to press start here. Okay. If you want to go back after you've made your adjustments here and you want to make sure, yes, that's what I've selected, I agree. If you push this little button down here, this is the back button. It will bring you back to that main screen that we were on, and then you just double check, yep, burst frequency, I set it for 45, that's what I want. Start your current and hit start. Okay.
How did you do that again? Can you
Yep, so we were in the edit mode.
Yep.
And let's say, you know, we want to change the ramp time, for example. So we edit ramp time. We hit the enter button. So I have my choices of 0, 0.5, 1, 2. So let's say I wanted 5. Okay? So to go back and to make sure that, yes, that's what I want, if I press this button down here, it brings you back to that screen, and if you look under ramp, now it says 5 seconds instead of 2. So it's, again, just another checks and balances to make sure that the equipment did what you wanted it to do. You don't have to come back to the screen. You can perform the treatment from that other screen if you want.
And this time is already set.
You
Or
can
we
change the
modify?
time. So in the edit mode, if you go down
Oh,
here to
treatment
treatment time,
Okay.
okay, you would just arrow up or arrow down depending upon what you wanted.
Okay.
Okay, and then you press enter, and again, you could go back, make sure, or you could, again, you can treat from this screen as well. Okay? All right, so again, we're going to give you guys the opportunity to travel. Okay, we're not going to separate you apart into groups at all today.